You are listening to the CADDle Call podcast. This is the place where computer-aided design and drafting meets humor and practicality, with a touch of business acumen thrown in for fun. Jim and Rocco, the owners of Zentech Consultants, the premier U.S. technology consulting firm for architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing, discuss the fascinating world of CAD with some humor and some honesty. The CADDle Call podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the CADDle Call podcast with Jim and Rocco from Zentech Consultants. I am your titan of technology, Jim, and with me is our resident sultan of sales.
Oh my goodness! Good morning, it's Rocco.
Oh, come on, man! I'm giving us cool titles, dude. We could be like superheroes.
You're just too full of yourself.
See, this is why I argue with him, folks. He never lets me have any fun. He just sucks the joy out of life, this guy. Here I am trying to give us cool titles, and he's going to be like, yeah, whatever. Oh, goodness. And you're right. It's too early in the morning to be that energetic. I have too much caffeine in me already. All right. So today I want to talk about a new concept that's coming up pretty quickly here in both the design and construction world, and it's called technology mentoring. All right, now look, I admit mentoring programs are not new, right? That idea has been around for hundreds of years, but they are new in relation to the concept of technology capabilities for modern software. Since the advent of the computer age, if you will. There have really been two ways that people become proficient in a software system, right? You either get a lot of training or you just kind of figure it out on your own, right? And the truth is, neither of those answers has a huge fan base, because both of those methods really do have very noticeable limitations. Look, training, while it's really, really useful, and we do a lot of it, we love it, but it has a higher cost, and there's been a lot of different training processes and practices over the years that have led to some, really dismal failures in getting people proficient in the software that they're using on a daily basis. Learning this on your own, right? That seems to have a much better long-term result, right? People in our industries, they're pretty smart folks, and they eventually figure out good practices and processes to get their job done. I think the problem there is, that the long term in that phrase can be really long. Sometimes even years, right? During which you're kind of putting out slow, costly, substandard products to your clients. And I think, in the end, neither the full on training or the do it yourself model are ideal answers to getting people where you need them to be in the design and build technologies. But we just haven't really had alternatives available to us. And now this new concept of technology mentoring is kind of changing all that. And before I get into the details on tech mentoring, I want to wake my partner here up and see if he's had enough caffeine and ask him some questions. So Rocco, what's the overall vibe that you get from our clients on paying for training versus letting their people figure it out? Do they have a preference, or are they both equally unhappy with either answer?
I mean, it's mixed. There's people that are, well, I don't have the time for training, and then there's people that I talk to within companies that are like, oh yeah, upper management has the mentality that we need to figure it out on our own, and they're like, what do they want us to do first? I mean, it's get the work done or figure this out, so it's,
you can't do both.
You can't do both. And it's kind of, it's all over the place in terms of thoughts.
Okay. All right. So let's talk then. What exactly do we mean by technology mentoring? It's a simple idea, really. It means creating a partnership with a skilled professional for a particular software or workflow that you know and trust, and then having those people work directly with your staff whenever they need it. Essentially, the idea is to show them best practices, right, and how to resolve problems in the real world. In other words, it's exactly like any other mentoring program you've ever seen. The difference is that we're focusing on technology processes instead of business processes. A technology mentoring program, it really needs to be, flexible and convenient, and it has to be available, exactly when your staff needs it. And look, that's not to say that you need to have someone standing by, 24/7, 365, but, someone that you can engage and trust to respond, in a timely fashion, right? Even if that response is just an email with a quick suggestion to keep things, rolling on the job until they're available to me, right? That they're worth their weight in gold if you can find those people. Now, I'm sure that, some of our listeners, are wondering, how am I supposed to get that mentorship working, right? I understand if you guys had people on staff who could mentor like that, you'd already have them doing it, right? But look, even if you are, you're a lucky person, right? You got that person in your company, you got them in house. Let's be honest. They are likely, right, if they're that good, they're likely your most profitable employees, right? And you need those people working on your projects, not spending their time helping other employees. And I think, in the this modern era that we're facing right now with the shortage of, skilled tech and skilled labor in our industry, you're gonna have to look outside of your company to find skilled technology mentors. In most cases, that's going to mean, working a long-term contract with some type of a technology consultant. And I usually suggest Zentech, but, to be fair, I am somewhat biased in that. So Rocco, do you find that there are a lot of people that, who are looking for, help, training, mentoring, connections, and which software and which industries do you see that really seem to need that mentoring most?
Yeah, there's definitely a need. It's a struggle, right? People are caught like kind of between two worlds right now, where they've got so much work and not enough people, and also keeping up with the technology, and realizing that they need to keep up with the technology, excuse me. Um, and we also find that, like I've said in the past on this podcast a number of times, companies that are so far behind in technology, they struggle as well because they're so far behind, and they have compatibility issues. And then it's like when they're making a jump to the more current versions, then it's like, oh my God, I got to learn all that. So there's a lot of moving parts to the engine.
Yeah. And you see a lot of times it's a difference between think of it like this, those folks who need to upgrade. It's like taking your grandfather, I know how to use the remote control, and giving him an iPad. What is this? It doesn't balance the same. There's a big tech jump in there for a lot of folks. It really is staggering to me how many folks have let themselves fall 15, 20 years behind. It's crazy. All
And
right,
time
so
goes by, right? Time goes by for all of us in work and life. A lot of times you want to kick a can. Oh, we'll put that off to next year. Well, guess what? Next year comes, and now they're kicking the can again. Next thing you know, they're three releases behind on the software.
and
And
no idea what the new features are, and they're getting files and processing. What is this? I don't even know how to make that print. Yeah, I
yeah,
get you. Yeah, that's a big problem. And I think mentoring and keeping your people up to speed will definitely help with that. But look, so folks, we really haven't seen these technology mentoring programs before now, because I think there's been a basic misunderstanding about the role of technical software in the design build world for a long time, and I think it's only just now beginning to go away. And here's why. I think that folks like Rocco and I, who kind of we grew up on computers and technology, right? People like us, our age, are now taking over companies as owners and senior level management, and I think that as a generation, we understand instinctively something that the people before us didn't, right? The people who didn't grow up with computers. We know that technology isn't just a tool, right? It's our process of business now. And what I mean by that is that our predecessors, right, the older generation, they saw CAD and estimating and project scheduling and project management software systems. They were just another tool in the way that they work, right? It was like, I like buying a new hammer or buying a new typewriter. Software, it was just one more tool to help them with the real business of design and build, right? And what I think that they missed was an understanding that's native to those of us who grew up in this age, right? That software isn't separate from the construction process. It is the construction process now. The days of using computers to, just gather some information that you could then take out in paper form and you could apply it to real world processes and building, that's long gone, right? Modern software designs, it verifies, it controls, it works in real time, and it activates that whole real world process now. It's not just a tool anymore. It is arguably the most important part of the modern design build process. And I think that gets to be truer every day, right? We're introducing concepts like, digital twins, right? Machine control on site, right? Scanning, for field variance in what's going on the site. And what we need are people as comfortable with construction technology processes as, their predecessors were with 3 martini lunches and golf outings. And to get your people there, training alone won't work, right? You're going to need mentors for tech in exactly the same way that you needed experienced mentors back in the day to show you, the ins and outs of trying to get, a construction project approved and completed for a union job in Boston or New York, right? You had to know how to work that. So that's how I see this going. So let's take a quick break here to get a commercial in, and then when we get back, I want to talk about the different types of tech mentoring programs that are available out there. Right? So stand by, folks. We'll be back in just a minute with more of the CADDle Call podcast. Today's CADDle Call podcast is being brought to you by BricsCAD, the latest and greatest CAD software out there on the market today. It's growing by leaps and bounds, and the beauty of it is that BricsCAD allows you to use all of your current drawing files, all of the CAD commands and macros and features and Lisp routines and customizations and configurations that you've already developed, right? Without any transition. Your people can be up and running in BricsCAD in a matter of hours, right? So to help you make that transition here at Zentech, one of the things that we've done is we have actually created a Make the Move to BricsCAD program to help you move from your Autodesk-based platform over into BricsCAD with minimal time and risk and investment. And Rocco is going to tell you all about it. Rocco?
I'm going to tell you all about it. Well, there's a great deal of information that's available right on our website. It's zentechconsultants.net. You can reach out to us at sales@zentechconsultants.net or give us a call, 866-824-4459. But yeah, that's the core idea behind it, Jim. If you're an AutoCAD user and you're looking to make the move to BricsCAD, we're here to help make an easier transition for you. So check us out. Let us know how we can help you.
Perfect answer. BricsCAD, the smartest CAD system on the market today. All right, everybody, welcome back to the CADDle Call podcast. We're talking about the concept of technology mentoring today. Right? We're talking about who needs it and how it works and where you can find it is kind of next up on our itinerary for today's podcast. So let me start with the basic mentoring program concepts that we're seeing in the market. And the first is really just a variation on established training and support systems that your guys are probably already familiar with, right? The kind of stuff you get when you buy a new software system. And the idea is that when you buy the software, right, you can also hire a skilled mentor, right, a user of that software, right, and it's that's usually an employee or a consultant working for the reseller of that particular system, who will work with you on your first real project with the new software. And this is a really enticing idea, I think, because it addresses two primary issues that we all face, right? One, you get to have a mentor working, hand in hand with your staff on an actual project, right? So that that you're getting, the practical usage training, right, that your folks really need with this new system. And second, the mentor is working for you on a real job, which means they're billable. Right? You can pass the expense, off to the project and essentially get that, mentoring and training for free. Right? And now, listen, I know there are folks out there who are thinking, yeah, that sounds good, but we didn't plan for those mentoring fees in the project estimate. And you're right, but don't worry about that. I promise you, the enhanced productivity your staff will get from this, it's more than going to pay, for the mentor on that first project, and it's going to, increase your ROI on every single job that your staff is going to do moving forward with that software forever. So I think it's definitely worth it. So, Rocco, are our clients, right? Do you find that they're actually actively looking for technology mentors yet, or is this still too new of a concept that yet you're still finding you have to even introduce and explain it to people?
Oh, it definitely is a new concept, but people, it's people are open to the idea. I mean, they're definitely willing to hear. And look, let's face it, you know, we got to find a way to think out of the box here, right? I mean, again, look at the challenges that people are having in getting the work done and the volumes of work and finding the right employees and the people who are going to stay. So it's a new concept, and it's certainly worth trying. I mean, again, especially if you can pass the costs off in a billable project. I mean, why not?
Yeah. What do you got to lose on that?
What do you have
I
to
agree.
lose? Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Um, so kind of, the second process that I've seen out here for, technology mentoring, it kind of moves outside of that new software model. And it goes into more of a long-term partnership structure. Look, the truth is, right, people in your company, right, whoever you are, the people are always changing. They shift departments, they get promoted, they're taking on new responsibilities, and, of course, right, we're all always hiring new people. And every one of those folks are going to need technology mentoring. And the idea here is to provide mentoring long term whenever it's needed, right? Instead of just when you're bringing in a new software system. The truth is that, most of us could use help even on the software that we've been using for years. Just because somebody's been working in Bluebeam or Civil 3D or Procore or whatever it is for 10 years doesn't mean that they can't be better and more efficient with a little bit of mentoring. Most people, right, especially those, the I learned it on my own types, which is great, but, what they wind up doing is they usually figure out a process, right? And that process works and they stay with it. But the thing is, it's not always the best, the fastest, or the most profitable process, right? But they do it because it's reliable. They know it works, right? But if you take those people and you team them with a technology mentor who understands, what they're trying to do and shows them a faster way, that's a win for everybody across the board, right? And I think, the most common way that we're seeing these types of engagements is really it's with a prepaid support or mentoring contract, right? And this is something we do regularly here at Zentech, right? With the system we call them our tech blocks. And what it is, right? Companies buy a set number of hours, and we jump online and we help their staff with any issues, any questions, any problems that they're having, right? On specific software systems and processes. The great thing about systems like those tech blocks is that they give mentoring access for every user in your firm at a locked-in fee, right? And that means that they can't overrun. You can't get unexpected bills, right, without you knowing it, right? So, when you're dealing with a consultant like Zentech, what we're going to do is we're going to log and report all the hours that we work with your staff, right? So if we work 3 hours, we deduct that, right? And then we send you a quote for a new contract, right? When those hours that you bought up front are close to being used up. And this way, you can actually go in and you can look at your people. You can see what we did. You can see, what did they learn? What kind of an impact did it have on the job? You're sure that they're getting the help that they needed, right? Without worrying about sudden unexpected, bills and support things coming up, right? It's all been prepaid and done. So, Rocco, what what has been the response to the Tech Block mentoring program? I mean, for the people who do it, right? Do most folks keep renewing the contracts when they use up their hours, or is it more of a one and done?
Oh, most people, yeah, most people definitely renew. It's it's about a need, right? I mean, you're not just going to throw money at something that you don't need or see the value in. But most customers definitely renew the contracts, and they keep them ongoing. And our tech blocks don't expire. So, if you buy a contract, you can keep it going. We're not on your back to, hey, you got to use this contract this month. So
Yeah,
there's flexibility there.
which I think is a definite plus. So kind of going back to that new software based mentoring option. I just want to talk about it. It's something that we are just trying out here at Zentech ourselves with one of our most popular software systems, which is Civil Site Design, which is just an absolutely great plugin for civil site survey design folks. Works in all CAD packages: Civil 3D, AutoCAD, BricsCAD, and we've talked about that a number of times here on the show. But what we're doing, and we just recently started doing this, is that on every quote that we send out for that civil site design system, we're including an option for that new software mentoring training, right, to work on their first billable job, to help people get up and running with the new software. And honestly, I think that that billable process, right, where the mentor is going to be billable, is the best way that we've really ever come across to make sure you're actively getting the return on investment that you want when you purchase and implement a new software, right? Rocco likes to use it. We call it what do you call it, Rocco? Shelfware, right? Where they buy it and it sits on the shelf and no one ever uses it. It's a complete waste of money.
Yeah.
We're trying to avoid that, right? So it's a real important thing, and we're also on all of our quotes, right? We're including those tech blocks, right, to kind of hit both the front end and the back end of this, right? We're offering those long-term support and mentoring with every quote. We've even started doing this on things like renewals, software renewals, licensing renewals, and as a follow-up to even people who've used our online training. Right? And I'm not trying to sell anything to you folks here today. I'm just trying to stress, I think this is an important concept. Both aspects of the mentoring program, and particularly in light of, like Rocco was saying earlier, right, the current shortage of skilled technology workers that we see out here in the design and build world. And we've talked about this before on the podcast, right? We all are looking at having to do more with less staff. Right? But you have to remember, you can't just demand that from your people without giving them real support to make it happen. Look, trust me, if you lose 2 of your 4 project managers in your company, and then you just look at the 2 that are left and expect them to just kind of figure it out on how to handle their workloads, pretty soon, I promise, you're going to have 0 project managers, right? Look, in this environment, the workers have power. And your competitors are offering mentoring programs, right, and ongoing training to help your current employees develop their careers and move forward. And if you aren't working at getting that set up and functional and in place today, right, you may, believe it or not, find yourself going out of business during what is literally the biggest construction boom in history. And it's all just because you didn't think ahead, you didn't plan ahead, and you didn't put in a training and mentoring program for long-term support of your current employees. So that's my thoughts. So Rocco, we'll give you last word today. Anything you want to add to this discussion before we wrap it up?
Nope.
No. I go through the trouble of giving you the last word, and you can't even come up with a full sentence, just one word.
I gave you the last word. It's nope.
All right, the word is nope, folks. Rocco, useless as always. Thank you so much. All right, folks, we're going to get out of here and let you get back to your day. We will catch you next time on the CADDle Call podcast. All right, everybody, today's CADDle Call was brought to you courtesy of Zentech Consultants. That's Rocco and I. Zentech Consultants works with design and manufacturing firms to help our clients purchase and implement the software that they need in these complex industries. We provide a single point of contact for clients to buy, develop, and learn the most vital software systems for your specific needs. Zentech strives to be your trusted technology partner from your initial needs all the way through long-term support and training for your entire staff. So Rocco, why don't you tell them how to reach out to Zentech?
All right, yeah, you can reach out to us through zentechconsultants.net. You can email us at sales@zentechconsultants.net, or you can even call us 866-824-4459.
Excellent. We look forward to hearing from you all.